Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is now time to examine some X-Men 97.
Yes.
So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our illustrious panel. Straight from Mojo World himself, it is the immortal Frey.
That was a little twist there. I see what you did. I see what you did there. That was fantastic. Well, I mean, if I'm from Mojo World, he's the leader of Mojo World, or at least his second lieutenant, once removed in IT. It is Graveyard.
Yes, I'm so prepared for this episode. And it's far from a long shot, but here we have Phil.
Don't shower star me.
No, I love the reference because you just made an Easter egg reference right off the bat right there. I love that.
Yes.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to X-amining 97, the premiere show featuring a bunch of nerds talking about X-Men 97. We are here to talk about episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be doing all the fun things, breaking down Easter eggs, talking about our links and the different things, especially because it's technically a two-part episode. Links in the chain. Technically, it's a two-part episode, so we're going to be talking about the correlation with comics, as well as just kind of like everything that they've done with this. So, with that being said,
it'd be so hard not to spoil stuff because we know the other, and I'm like, no, I can't say that. So
before we jump into it, let's give like a quick little, not a full synopsis, but like just like a quick little description of the episode. Guys, I know that we're 2 episodes behind, but it's been a little while. We haven't been able to get the timing right for everybody to get together to do this. So we're doing episode 4 tonight. Tomorrow on the build, we'll be doing episode 5 and episode 6. So we'll be getting caught up as of tomorrow.
Yes.
With that being said, the episode we are reviewing today is going to be episode 4. In the first part of the episode, Jubilee is celebrating her 18th birthday, and she gets.
And she is so freaking bratty about it.
She has much jubilation to do on her 18th birthday.
Yeah, but I mean, Genosha was becoming part of the United Nations. It's like, come on, read the room here, Jubilee.
And we will get to that tomorrow. But
she just wants to play some damn games.
Exactly. With that being said, she finds a console and gets into a whole bunch of craziness with Roberto Sunspot. The second part of the episode features the beautifully done comic book action of
forging ahead in the comics.
But we get into Life Death part 1, and in the second half of the show itself, we get into Storm and Forge kind of bonding together, and Forge
they're doing a lot of stuff together.
Yeah, but Forge trying to help Storm
from the aftermath of being shot by
and
the Friends of Humanity. Yep.
Right. So, with that all being said, guys, what are your reactions on the episode? Just kind of overall, like, what are your initial thoughts?
Mojo-tastic.
I like it.
No, I loved it. I was so I was saying this earlier. that I was so excited for Graveyard because I was like, he and I have this undying love for Mojo and Mojo World. I just love it. And I think I love it for different reasons than he does, but we both love it and that's all that matters. And yeah, so I was super excited about this and to have it go like back to back with Life Death, which is probably one of my favorite like two-parters that like Storm and Forge. I just love that. That's what made me love Forge so much. And I think it really showed a different side to him that we hadn't seen before. And it was just so beautifully like drawn and everything. And I feel like they got like the essence of it, of the act, like of that storyline. And so I really liked that. I thought that was really cool. But
I agree.
but yeah, that's why I said Mojo Test.
Graveyard, what were your initial thoughts on this?
I love Mojo. You know, I've been cheering for Mojo to come into the MCU properly, and I've had theories about this, obviously, about what that would come into. Yes, was Mojo less annoying? A little bit, but he was still Mojo. He is the essence of Mojo.
He's still annoying as shit.
Yeah. And knowing that, you know, Jubilee knows the Konami code for extra life and health.
Yes. I noticed that too.
I think it was a perfect rendition. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be with the 16-bit version of Mojo. And her excitement of playing the arcade games was our excitement when the X-Men arcade cabinet came out.
Yeah.
And I think that perfectly ties into that. I can't wait to talk about
and we're gonna talk about some of that because if we do get into a scene or a whole sequence, more so than the scene, where we get into all of that Easter eggy goodness. So as far as my reactions on this, I thought it was great just because I was hoping we were gonna get some Mojo, just because it's kind of like I felt like it was missing since the point of Deadpool 2. When, like, you know, Shatterstar comes in and he starts making the references to Mojo World, and I'm like, well, now I want a live action Mojo.
Yep.
You know, like I want Mojo in my life. That would just be the tits. And
you know, X-Men 97 bringing Mojo back.
Yeah, and again, just getting the cartoon and then getting Mojo in his in the form that we got him, and then him going back to the original form was just like, oh, you know what it is? He just hasn't had attention since they destroyed Mojo TV. Now he's got this console. So I'm already giving stuff away. So let's start moving into the Easter eggs here, guys. So let's start off with this. You guys catch that long shot stuffed toy at the very beginning?
Yes.
I mean, I know Graveyard did because he made a long shot joke right at the beginning.
Right. But yeah, I loved it. I loved
it. It's weird for her to have, though, a stuffed doll of Longshot, her secret crush. Not really secret, right?
Oh yeah, so many references. So, you know, to me, when you see stuff like that, it's they know the material, like they know the source material,
right?
Because you have to know something well enough to be able to play with it, and that's what they did. So it's, you know, I mean, they could say, oh, it's a David Bowie doll or whatever.
Right.
I don't know what Bowie would have been.
Do you think she picked up the Mojo or the Longshot plushie while she was there last? Because he is a star, so there is going to be merchandise of Longshot.
But not just that, like Longshot was in those episodes, so it's just kind of like, you know, we had him as a character. Just acknowledging Coffin Radio on Instagram is agreeing with a lot of things we're saying here. Nice. One, he's saying that he loved that they brought back the original voice of Jubilee, and I was saying I just love the cast in general.
Yeah,
because overall that cast is amazing. He's saying this was a total throwback and he loved it. I love the X-Men arcade. I mean, that's another big thing for me, and the animation is an homage to that. Again, we're gonna get to that, but
absolutely,
you know, it's just it was beautiful. Just overall, you know, and again, we didn't get Longshot in the episode, but I mean, given that we've seen him within this universe, and now we're getting at least an homage to him, you know, was kind of cool.
I think it was a good introduction because we know Mojo's not gone. I mean, you
Right.
think he's gone and then he's not gone. So it's like he'll have something else coming up, and I just think that that's cool that the way that they did it. I
Mhm.
liked that they did the consoles because of course those consoles that was so big in the 90s, and so I love that that was the next step for it. So that's awesome.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I have to get into my Easter eggs of the council and everything, what it
Yes.
means, just because I examined that scene a lot when it came up. So I said my first thoughts was it's interesting they call it Motendo when it's clearly a Model 1 Sega Genesis because they said 16-bit where the cartridge goes in, and that is only on the Model 1. The controllers were Sega Genesis. It has a volume slider, Sega Genesis, all the way through.
But you know the thing about that though is I think it's because as much as we love the NES, I mean, obviously I'm building it on the build right now, right? As much as we love the NES, and you know they did the homage to Motendo, it is very, very evident that if you think of the 90s and you think about game consoles from the 90s, you think of the Sega Genesis. Like as far as something that is something that was 90s defining.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Because the NES console, as big as that was, and the Super Nintendo too, they were more associated with the 80s, whereas the Sega was like peak 90s.
The RAD
Yeah.
system, yeah.
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 You know, because that was the cool system to have in the 90s.
Mhm.
Right.
That's why I had it.
Yeah.
But the game itself is the original X-Men game for the Sega Genesis too. The cover
Yes.
art is perfect match for it,
Yeah.
which is funny
Absolutely.
because you know there's other things with it, and I have to get into how they got into the video game world
Right.
because
Right.
people would go, "How'd that happen?" Right? Well, that technology actually existed for the Sega Genesis. It's called the Sega Channel. And how did Mojo capture the X-Men the first time? Through broadcast TV, which is
Right.
exactly how the Sega Channel came to you as well in the 90s. So no one talks about that. It was dial-up, and you had the dial-up sound, so it was very Matrix and cyberpunk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that technology existed, and there's only one other villain to use landlines and communication to attack people in the 90s.
Is that Tron?
Carnage
Oh, okay.
sent
Never mind.
himself through a modem through the internet to
Right.
attack people in the Maximum Carnage storyline.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
So I think it ties up
I-
perfectly for Mojo capturing them through broadcast systems.
Again, at some point I gotta find those books because I have all 14 Maximum Carnage books. I just don't know where they're at.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
No, I know it hurts because the amount of work me and my mom put in looking for those books,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got them all, and now don't know where they're at. But that's also, I mean, this was in the mid '90s, so it's like,
This was the let's put them in a safe place so we never lose them.
Yeah.
And then you forget the safe place.
now they're in my mom's garage somewhere. So I mean, just
Oh, gosh.
it's a thing. So moving into the next Easter egg here. So once they get into the game, the first level that they kind of deal with is Genosha.
Mhm.
And it's harkening back to the Genosha episode in season 1. We
Yeah.
see we see Blob, we see Sunfire, we see Boba Fett for some reason.
Well, I mean, because it's
Why
Boba
not?
Fett.
Tell me, you can't tell me that those guards did not look like Boba Fett.
I was like, those are freaking Mandalorians.
Yeah.
What are the Mandalorians in there? I was like, what the heck?
So those are actually creatures from the X-Men arcade that you
Yeah.
fight. They look like bounty hunters with the cannons on their shoulders.
Yeah.
So that ties perfectly into the X-Men arcade. So I like that as an Easter egg too. That you actually fight the enemies that don't appear anywhere else other than arcades, because beat 'em ups just had random ass characters in them.
I mean, we know this because on the game streams I've played both Battletoads and TMNT, and that's what you do is you fight all the randos in there.
Yeah. Just like, what else can we put in here?
Yeah. Fighting pizza monsters and just
Yeah.
the weirdest shit in those games. But I mean,
Mhm.
you're fighting like the randomly generated RNG fucking NPCs. I mean, you're just fighting the robotic characters.
And there's
It
just
was
different
just-
colors of them as they increase in difficulty.
right. But it was just funny that I was like, man, that looks like they're fighting Mandalorians now.
Yeah.
Like,
And again, it's just because their uniforms, like
Yeah.
and the helmet specifically, you know, and then the color choices. I mean, they're wearing khakis with green armor. Like they look like freaking Boba Fett.
they do. Well,
Right.
and I liked that the Sentinels looked like like the old school Sentinels. They didn't look like, yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. And then the what is it, forced perspective or whatever, what it made Jubilee look so much bigger than, which is like how it would have been in the game anyway. So I was like, no, this is awesome, this is great. I'm just glad they didn't make them 16-bit. Like they made the surrounding 16-bit, but they didn't make them really 16-bit,
Right.
because that would have given me a headache if I had to watch all that.
It's like everything's in 16-bit. Why?
I'd be like, why
Oh,
not?
yeah.
I don't like the pixels. Get the pixels away.
So I gotta ask this, guys. Did you guys catch that Dazzler reference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dazzler had a gig. Don't ask.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh my god, oh my god.
Well, I think it's great too, because we see Mojo where he's just, some people think he was sucking his gut, which he can't do, but he was not being fed. He was hungry. He was starving, essentially.
And that's the whole thing, is he feeds off of like ratings and
Yeah.
you know, all that. So the whole thing is like again, it's just showing that he's been starved
Mhm.
since the X-Men left him in left Mojo World the way they did.
Yeah.
Right. And the next level, I believe, was Savage Land.
Yes.
Oh, it was so dope, man. And with the Savage Land, like I was so happy that we saw Sauron.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
was like, what?
Sauron is my close second favorite villain from the X-Men cartoon.
I love Sauron just as a character.
Yeah.
You know, so as kids, me and my brother had a bunch of like X-Men like action figures,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and we had a Sauron and we had a Weapon X Wolverine.
So did I.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, he had the helmet on and everything. Yeah, I had
yeah.
the same
You can
ones.
take the helmet off. I
Yeah.
think any kid who had X-Men toys as a kid, those were like the two that everyone had.
Oh, for sure.
I didn't have them, but then I didn't have any of them. So that's why.
But do you think the Savage Land is going to come back into play? They're showing us scenes from the past as a video game,
Right.
because you know even the enemies they fight in the Savage Land, first and foremost, are Konami characters. They're the dinosaurs were actually from Turtles in Time. They're actually not from the X-Men game. They're from Turtles in Time. It's another Konami game.
I just love that you know that.
He's a gaming nerd. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I just love it. It's like, well, those weren't the ones from that specific game. They were from this specific game. That's how I am about shit too. So you know what? My nerd recognizes your nerd.
And then really the next level is the street level, where we have the next Easter egg, which is the Days of Future Past poster recreated
Yeah.
in 16-bit.
I know. I love that. I was like, man, that would be such a cool screensaver. Just get Jubilee out of it.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's like, yeah.
I'm like, I don't particularly hate her. So I mean, like,
No, I just want the poster. Like that's what I liked about it.
right.
Even though it was Kitty Pryde and Wolverine
Yeah.
in
God.
in the comic, but you know.
I'm looking at the chat again, and Coffin Radio saying Sauron gang.
Yeah. Yes.
My boy Chris Neal in the chat right now. He said, "I had no toys, just consoles."
That's absolutely fair. And what do you think of, you know, the lineup they had in the X-Men arcade and Jubilee's special move? Because he always had so many special moves you're able to do, especially in the X-Men arcade system. And the sound that was made was the same sound that was Colossus powering up and doing his explosion in the X-Men arcade.
Yeah. I love that they show the character select screen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's Magic, it's Colossus, it's Cable, it's Obviously Sunspot and
there was like
Lee.
so many characters, and I liked it. I thought that was awesome. I thought it was really great,
especially because they've made references to those three already within this universe. So I thought that was like kind of a cool homage.
Oh yeah. It's just a way, it was are shoving in different cameos because only Colossus from that lineup was in the X-Men Arcade.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god, and I remember that too.
Yeah, the 6-person X-Men Arcade game.
Yes,
which makes an appearance.
Which I will admit, I usually played Nightcrawler every time.
Yeah,
there was something about him bamfing around the screen that was just like, this is.
Look, if you can play somebody who teleports, you play someone who teleports. Okay. Right. What is that? There was that X-Men game a few years ago. It was probably several years ago, where you could play the different X-Men, or maybe it was just Nightcrawler was in it. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Oh, it was like a Marvel Universe game. Oh, but you had to play Nightcrawler.
Ultimate Alliance?
Yes, Ultimate Alliance.
The Ultimate Alliance needs to come back. Those games were awesome. Yeah.
I loved playing Nightcrawler in that.
Yeah, Chris Neal on Instagram saying Colossus was my go-to in the X-Men Arcade.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then
they're all fantastic. Yeah,
he was saying Nightcrawlers could jump on the Sentinels all kinds of times. Like, yeah, and that's why I like using Nightcrawler. And then every now and then I drop a Cyclops. I mean, admittedly, he was actually fun to play in that game.
Oh, yeah.
Cyclops, yeah, no, and I mean, no, he's okay. He's a big bitch now. He's not a little bitch.
And we're kind of going through the game. The final boss being Magneto, master of magnets. Yeah. Welcome to die. And I think that was fantastic. And she learning the realizing it's a final boss and there's different move sets that you just have to memorize the patterns is absolutely true to it. And and then Sunspot losing their life and finding essentially the extra life that is there.
Yeah.
And in true fashion, the first time we fight Magneto in the X-Men Arcade game, it's not really Magneto, it's Mystique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a fantastic callback to it. And I'll let you guys talk about the final level. Right?
Well, hold on, before we get to that, we got the IT lady.
Yeah.
And what's funny is about IT lady, we got her earlier in the series because we were talking about like how cool it would be to see Spiral, and then all of a sudden, next episode, Spiral is back, basically as Mojo's IT lady.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I loved that. That was awesome. Spiral was awesome.
Yeah. And I love that, like, as everything starts going haywire, she's like, fuck this, I'm out.
She's I don't need this. Yeah.
I'm not dealing with your shit, dude.
As a true IT person would, yes.
It's like, I don't feel like being tech support. You can kiss my ass.
Right. Tech support this.
Now kind of so we get to this point where the game starts getting hacked, and it's kind of been getting hacked the entire time that they've been in there.
Not gonna lie, I thought that actually was Dazzler for a good minute.
I almost thought it was her too until they like made it clear that that it was Abyssissa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who is the older variant of Jubilee.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, because Jubilee's only really gonna listen to herself.
Right. But I love that because Jubilee was a character that was made for the cartoon, and then eventually made her way into the comics.
Yeah.
And then they have the OP version of Jubilee in the future, which is Abyssissa. And I love that they brought her in and showed this. You finally get a chance to see how capable Jubilee can actually be.
Instead of just sparkles. Yeah.
Instead of just like, oh, here's my little sparkles. Like, you can actually like conjure explosions and like destroy everything. So it's like she's like, it's like, oh no, she is capable of being a badass.
Did you like their Wonder Woman powers activate combined explosion.
That was, yeah, I love that. And that was such a video game thing too, though. Like where you're like, you have to get them together and they have to do it together, time it right kind of thing to take them down. So yeah, I liked it. I thought it was awesome. I
Yeah.
thought it was a great, like, half episode story.
Yeah, and also a cool thing
awesome.
about this is they brought Allison Court back to play the older version of Jubilee.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, so I thought that was kind of cool that, you know, we got to see the original actress who played Jubilee again.
Yeah, that's cool. I love when they can do stuff like that.
Yeah. Chris Neal in the chat said, I wish they would have made a turn it off and then turn it on again show.
Oh, absolutely. I have one issue with a lot of people are saying references to this and being the Matrix. Matrix came out in 1999, 2 years before this takes,
right.
2 years after this takes place,
Yeah.
right? So they would not be referencing. Steampunk and cyberpunk has existed.
Yes.
Hackers has existed for 10 years at this point in time.
Yeah.
So the idea of hacking and dialing in and jacking in predates the Matrix. So we have to realize that it's not the Matrix being referenced here.
I think a lot of people forget that like cyberpunk as a genre has been around since the early 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right, obviously, because you are. But but no, and I get it. My thing is that they got the reference. To me, it's like I'm not, you know, it could reference a lot of things.
Mhm.
So if you say, oh, it's the Matrix, or oh, it's, you know, it was hackers, or oh, it was, you know, some random dude I met in a chat room, you know, to me, they got the reference. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of, I think that's the coolest part is that if people get the reference. Yeah,
I think they got Matrix. I think the idea came in for a lot of people associated with Matrix, especially was running to the phone booth and picking up the phone and dialing in that way. Yes, that scene probably was for the Matrix, but the whole idea of dial up and cyberpunk was everything is really hackers.
Yeah.
And war games, let's face it.
Yeah, war games.
Well, I mean, it's like the first movie that was like a true cyberpunk movie was Blade Runner.
Yeah.
You know, so like a lot of people like don't realize that like Blade Runner is like the pro generation of cyberpunk. Like cyberpunk is like kind of like the idea of what we look at cyberpunk right now, at least as far as aesthetics go, is Blade Runner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when Denis Villeneuve came back and did Blade Runner, was it 2077?
Yeah.
2048?
Is it 2048?
I think.
Sometime in the future. Let's go.
Sometime.
I'll look it up.
It is 2048. It is 2048. So when he did Blade Runner 2048, like basically what he did was expand on the cyberpunk world that was built in Blade Runner in the 80s, right? So I mean that's the whole thing is, you know, the genre started with like an idea and then somebody finally made a movie based on it. And it's been a genre ever since. I mean, again, Cyberpunk 2077, the now video game, is based on a board game that came out in like 1984.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, so, or a tabletop game, not a board game. Sorry. That's belittling the game. But I mean,
I call them all board games. I'm sorry.
If there's a board,
I'm not
it's
PC.
A board game.
I'm not PC with the tabletopping gaming gamies.
Chris on Instagram saying Johnny Mnemonic is another one. Johnny Mnemonic 95. But like, I mean, hackers for sure. They were all hacking from phone booths.
Johnny Mnemonic. I can't believe it wasn't more popular when it came out because that movie rocks.
That movie is fucking great. I love Johnny Mnemonic.
So with all this being said, with kind of wrapping up the Mojo side, do you think we'll see Mojo again? And what form will it be?
I think we'll see Mojo again.
Absolutely. And again, we kind of skipped over the reference, and I know you're trying to move into it, but like, you know, Mojo becomes the final boss.
Yeah.
And he comes out of the cabinet and attacks everybody, and they fight his ass off. I 100% believe that we're going to see Mojo again. If not, I mean, obviously not in this season, but we'll probably see him in next season. I would like to see another arc, like another Mojo arc, and like
I'd like to see him just pop up like once a season. Like it's the Mojo episode. Oh, it's the and we're X babies now. Oh, we're like just
But
random crap.
But that's a good excuse to do X Babies. Is
Yeah.
do another Mojo World episode.
Do you think he'll if we continue the year wise, if he pops up in 98 or 99, what genre do you think he'll do though?
I think he's gonna do porn. I think he's gonna do PC Master Race at some point. Right.
I think this is my pitch. Ready?
Uh-huh.
BattleBots.
Ooh.
That would be funny.
What was that, like 2004, 2003, 2004?
It might have been earlier than that.
You think so?
Yeah. But he's gonna do something different to boost ratings because we already saw the soap opera. We already saw stuff like that. So maybe he'll either do BattleBots or he will do like Road Rules.
Like,
oh my God, no, he's gonna do reality TV.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That just sounds like something that Mojo would do.
Like Big Brother, like they're all stuck in a house or something.
Yeah.
They can't get out.
He will definitely do reality TV. I mean, considering what the first Real World was, what, 99?
Yeah, something like
what
that.
year was Real World New York?
I don't know, but like Road Rules was the late 90s. He'll do that. He'll have it will have the X-Men talking to the camera with their name underneath it and they're talking about like, oh man, I hate when Cyclops did that.
Right? Yeah.
It'll be like Scott always has to try and be a leader.
Yeah.
Why does Scott always
just
get the first peanut butter sandwich?
Scott is such a cuck. We do this just to piss him off. Actually, Real World New York was in 92.
Oh wow,
There you
it was. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they could absolutely do like a real world type thing.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I think especially with like the rise of reality TV in the 2000s, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think it would be good.
Yeah. So let's kind of
Hospital drama too.
Yeah.
They could do hospital drama.
let's kind of wrap on the first half of the episode, and we're gonna start moving into life death, right?
Yeah, definite like vibe change.
Oh
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It was like all up here, and then life death. It was like, hi, yeah, hey, we're just two people trying to get along in the world. Not really. It's all about mutants, but yeah, I mean, it was a lower vibe. I liked it.
Do you think before this will lead into the last 3 episodes of this, the tolerance is extinction?
I absolutely do.
Yeah, I do too. I think that I think this is the big overreaching arc, like because it started with Storm in the first. Was it the first or second? It was in that 2 episode thing that they.
Yeah.
And then now she's in the middle of it. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be longer than just like a couple of things and then thrown away and they never talk about it anymore. So, but yeah, I think so. I think that I love that they're reintroducing Forge and that he's getting a spotlight because I think he's really important to the X-Men. So even if he's just a support character, he's really important to the X-Men. So
Right. So just kind of moving into this, who wears short shorts?
right.
Forge wears short shorts.
Those are like his like standard. Like that's like standard for Forge when he's not in the freaking outfit. Like
Yeah. But Forge definitely rocks the short shorts.
and the long socks. And the knee-high socks. He had the knee-high socks on too.
So kind of jumping into that. The first Easter egg I'm going to bring up is, did you guys see the X Factor picture?
Yes.
Yeah. Strong Guy was on there, Wolfbane.
Yes.
Friends of the MCU, Polaris, Havoc, and Quicksilver.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
was like, what?
yeah.
And Strong Guy is Husby's favorite. And
Is
he
he?
was like, yeah. And he was just like, oh, that's Strong Guy. I mean, it was a big deal in our house. That was like a big night for us in the house. So
Yeah, it's actually funny because like you have 2 people who are, I guess 3 people who are closely related to characters that are on the current X-Men team, right? So
yeah.
Polaris, who is Magneto's daughter, Quicksilver,
Kinda.
who is Magneto's. Well, I mean, she's still technically his daughter. Same thing with Quicksilver. You can argue that Quicksilver is not really his son.
At this point in time, he was.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and again, I think he is now again. But I don't know. It's so freaking convoluted now.
Yeah. But I mean, like Polaris and Quicksilver would be Magneto's children, but then Havoc being a Summers.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know Summers like to leave their children, as we discussed.
Yes. We talked that many, many times. That,
the abandonment issue.
And their children.
So
Yes.
with the picture on the let's call it Forge's Pepe Silva board that that he had with the guy that Mystique was playing, you know, talking about, and you know, we know who the other potential other guy is in the pro. Do we think at that point in time that the Doctor that is Mystique working for Apocalypse was Mystique at that point in time? That person ever exist, or is it always Mystique?
She doesn't. She likes to take over people's lives and not create new people.
Right.
Usually, because it's harder to create new people. So I think it probably that Doctor did Doctor before her, but I don't know if. I think since we've known that Doctor, it's been Mystique.
Because the revelation was that Forge helped create the Genosian collars,
Right.
the mutant suppression collars, which were in Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, there's a couple of different things in Deadpool 2. Again, like you have references to Forge, Genosha. You have references to Mr. Sinister. I mean, they set up a lot of stuff in Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm.
They really did.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be great when Matthew McFadden is Mr. Sinister.
But then also like Deadpool 3, you know, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that pays off in Deadpool 3 just because he's already been setting up so much. And Feige's just like all the Easter eggs that are in this that are setting up a greater X-Men universe. Feige picked a perfect jump point to bring over as is with Deadpool.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be great. But let's get back to 97.
Yeah.
And you always got to talk about Deadpool.
Yeah. Do you what was the recipe that Forge had? Was the best waffle recipe?
Best pancakes.
Best pancakes.
What do you want to know? What's in the best pancakes? Because
I absolutely do.
Because he seems to be making like this outstanding food. On top of being able to look at any tech and fix it and figure it out, he also has a Michelin star chef background. It seems.
Well, the whole thing with Forge is it's not just that he has the ability to build anything from scratch. It's the way that his mind works about like around construction and just kind of putting things together. So it makes sense that he is like a Michelin star chef because he understands putting things together and making things perfectly. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Why would he not know how to cook perfectly if he can, in his mind, can put all the different ingredients together and make the perfect thing?
He sees all the parts and how they fit together, and that's what. But but it's even more than that. But yeah.
Or does he have this machine that just makes the perfect food to request it?
I mean, he could make that easily.
Exactly. He's like, oh, you need to make this hollandaise sauce? Push this button. Hollandaise sauce. Best in the world.
He's the guy behind the holodeck for Star Trek too.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So going back to what you said, what's the recipe?
Yeah, I want to know what it is.
Oh, I thought you were saying you knew the recipe.
I know.
I'd love to. Give us the recipe.
I'd love to know it.
I thought like you had looked it up and you knew the recipe for Forge's pancakes. Like
it's a splash of vanilla into the mix. You have to do that.
I need to do that every time.
Dash of rum.
Right.
Little cinnamon. It's nutmeg. The special ingredient
makes sense. That makes sense. The special ingredient is pot.
There you go.
CBD makes it all better.
Oh, there you go.
Now, were you expecting the machine to work right away on Storm?
Yes. No. No, actually, no, I wasn't.
I kind of halfway was, and mainly just because you kind of expect Forge to build something, you know, that's going to work off the bat just because of his track record, but also he's reversing something he already built.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it was interesting it didn't work because I think it was more shocking to Forge that it didn't work
Yeah,
than it was to Storm.
yeah, and you can tell that everything that was happening between them was hurting him. Like it's her finding out that he helped build this weapon. I mean, reluctantly and accidentally. He didn't know what they were using it for, but he made this technology that made her lose her powers, and it just not working. I'm sure it hurt him like a lot to have be at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think so. He has a lot of guilt. He's just got a lot of guilt. The guy has a lot of guilt all around.
Yeah.
But
My
yeah,
boy,
I think he did feel really bad.
my boy Gotham guy on Instagram saying, "I lost my shit when John Byrne's Storm emerged."
Oh, yes. But that's not this episode.
No.
Yeah, no, we're
We're on the first part of Life Death, not the second part.
Phil hasn't seen the second.
I haven't
part.
seen. Yeah, I haven't seen. I'm gonna watch it after this episode, so that way I'm caught
You
up.
don't know what that means. La 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 la.
I know what John Byrne's Storm is, so that just makes me more. That makes me more excited for it. You guys know me. I don't care about spoilers, so it's like it just makes me more excited for this episode.
Yeah, it's good. You'll like it. It's a really good one.
But
But I'm not going to spoil it.
We need to talk about the giant bird in the room here.
Okay, so I was telling Husby that bird reminds me of the witch from the witch from Howl's Moving Castle, the like older woman that turns into it reminded me of that. I was like, that's so cool. So I really loved the animation on the bird. The adversary, isn't that what they called him?
Yeah, I was gonna say I love the take on the adversary in this because
I mistakenly
it's
thought
scary.
Shadow King for a second.
I could see that. I could see that. Shadow King is another fucking scary monster-esque character.
Yeah.
He's very demon shaped in the astral plane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely is. But no, like I mean, I understood that it was the adversary just because the way they were describing things and the way he was talking and everything like that. He's talking in like omens and everything, and that's just kind of how the adversary talks to Forge in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like that was, again, they're really good about telling these complex stories in a short form.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you're getting the whole situation with Storm, you are getting the conflict between the adversary and Forge, and then you're also getting their love story, and it doesn't feel unearned. Like that's one of the things that you run into with a lot of these types of stories and storytelling is you get this whole situation where it feels like the love story is not earned at all. We talked about this a little bit with the last episode of Avatar, The Last Airbender, yesterday on the show. And how I felt like Aang and Katara didn't earn the moment that they had at the end of the season. You get that a lot in these shows, and I didn't feel that way at all between Forge and Storm. I felt like
Do you think that's because they were relying so heavily on the comic, and the comic did it so well that you like filled in the gaps, or do you think that it was just was a good adaptation?
No, because I watched it with an open mind. I didn't watch it like, oh yeah, I've read this comic book before. I read it. I mean, I watched the show, just kind of looking at it like, okay, give me the storytelling, right?
Yeah.
And I'll critique it after. That's kind of like how I look at a lot of these shows is I try to like watch them, just as they are, and then critique it and compare it to the comics after. And this again, I mean, it's not hitting every point that Life Death has, but they're hitting like it's almost like the cliff notes, right? Like they're hitting bullet points, but it doesn't feel like they're missing anything when they're doing everything.
Yeah, it's like they've got the strong beats,
right?
Sometimes, and that's what you need for like these, like to pack it into 30 minutes, and it was only half the episode, so it was like even less time.
I'd say I felt like it was only a third of it.
Yeah, right. It did seem they seem to go by really quick though. Like
Yeah.
when you're watching it, no matter how they break it up. So I
Now,
liked it.
and the adversary is voiced by the Storm actress
I
as well.
didn't know that. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So
That is so
the
cool.
adversary is talking back to Aurora as her own, essentially an inner voice too.
Hmm.
That's dope.
That's really cool.
That is dope because that just makes the character even more ominous.
And very demony. You know what I mean? Like, because that's really to me is really that's a demony thing. That wouldn't the creepiest voice to hear back it would be your own. Like telling you all that stuff. That I mean, that's like that's some meta like creep factor shit right there.
Absolutely
So
is. So with all that being said, again, this is kind of where we leave off for the episode. And then we get into one of the most heart-wrenching emotional episodes of animation in existence. And from what I'm hearing, it's tomorrow's going to be a very depressing day. We're just that. You know, because basically we're going to spend an hour on each episode, right? So
yeah, basically.
So before we do our sign-offs and everything like that, because I don't want to just jump right into that, but guys, give me your rating. What was your rating on this episode in particular between Motendo and Life Death Part 1? It looks like she's saying Graveyard, you go first.
Oh, this is definitely 10 blowing into the cartridge to make it work out of 10 perfect pancake stacks.
Oh my god. Perfection.
Oh, how am I gonna beat that? I don't know.
I am gonna give it. I'm gonna have Frey go last. So I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this 9 ratings point. Not nine ratings. Pounds gained back by Mojo out of 10. Owl demons scaring the living shit out of everybody in the room.
Wow, thanks for leaving me all the good stuff, guys. All right. I'm gonna say 9 extra lives.
Ding. Ding. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Closest thing I have is
that's not close at all. Anyway,
that's the closest thing I have.
Okay.
I mean that's winning, right? Winning.
There you go. Out of 10 Forge's sexy little shorts.
I feel just like a little girl. So predictions, guys.
We shouldn't do predictions.
Yeah, we can't really do predictions because you guys have already seen the next episode. So
yeah.
Let me see. Let me go out on a limb and say exactly what happens.
Yeah. But also, I mean, if you've read the comic, you know it's gonna happen at this point. So
yeah.
So with that being said, guys, tune in tomorrow to the build. On the build, we will be discussing episodes 5 and episode 6. Just because, again, you know, we are super behind on our takes on everything right with this. But yes, we will be talking more X-Men tomorrow. And if we have time after that, maybe a little bit of the bracket. But
maybe.
Yeah. But it is in all X-Men, all bracket episode tomorrow. So while I'm still building this NES. So that is it for this, guys. Before we jump off and end the episode, Graveyard, where can everybody find you aside from everybody here that is watching should have watched the awesome episode of Conversations in the Void right before this?
Yes.
But Graveyard, where can everybody find you here? Oh, and by the way, Frey, I don't know if you can hear it. It's the banana
peeler.
Frey's favorite song from the weekend. I'm a banana. But yes, Graveyard, where can everybody
Yes.
find you, sir?
You can find me at all social media at Pod Out at Night. I'm co-host of the Mostly Pod at Night, Mostly podcast.
They mostly
Pod.
at night. Mostly.
Yes, and we have a live show where we interview people every Wednesday over on the Pod Out at Night YouTube channel called Conversations Void. We talk to everyone in the horror world and get awesome content and behind the scenes stuff on the movies they're doing, and plan out movie nights over on our Discord server, which is the Found Footage Discord server. So make sure to check it out, and you'll see more at Kyber Cave Productions this week going forward with new Saturday Morning Nerd Out, hopefully starting this Saturday if everyone can make it this time. Yeah, and we'll see you tomorrow night for more X-Men stuff.
Yeah. Is it just me, or does anybody else notice the creepy ass eyes in the middle of Graveyard's chest?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about at all.
Oh God. That is haunting. All right, Frey, where can everybody find you outside of the distance nerding spear?
I feel like I'm fully immersed in it now. I have my own channel, Frey Girl, and we occasionally put out stuff because it's been a minute since we put anything out. Lots of corgi shorts. You like corgis and their short legs? Watch the corgi shorts on my channel.
Oh God.
We also do
That's so many jokes. There's so many micro jokes in that.
I know, right? And so we do Journals of the Classes, which is basically goes through all the classes of D&D. So to help you understand, we go through all the like subclasses. I don't know what we're up to. I think last thing we did was Sorcerer. I don't know. You'd have to watch it. I've slept since we put anything out. And then we also do something called Classified, where we take your favorite fandoms and we classify them into D&D characters. So that's fun. And yeah, it's me and Shadu. We do that. We should do it.
Do it. I like it.
We should do it up. We should do it up. And
do it.
yeah, and then I'm on most social media. I'm on Blue Sky too. I don't check it that often, but I am on there. So if you're on Blue Sky, it's fraygirl.bluesky, whatever. But yeah, you can find me at Fraygirl, Fray Comics. That's me.
Also, you missed Shadu explaining yesterday.
I heard about it.
It was good.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Like, if Phil mansplains, Shadu explains.
Yeah, I was telling you, I was like, oh, you got to splain now. I was like, there's a Phil splain, there's a Jen splain, there's a Frey splain that sounds really dirty, and then there's a Shadu splain. I was like, that's great.
Awesomeness.
Shut up and take my money.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am. I'm your boy, Young Phil, the, I guess James would say, the face of this channel. You can connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, Discord, MySpace, Vine, GeoCities, Friendster, Second Life, AIM, Farmers Only, Christian Mingle. I said Vine again, but I'm going to say Vine again because Vine. Look for us on Vine. It doesn't exist. OnlyFans. It's only pictures of Aaron Watson's feet in mandals and the beautiful, luscious beard right there. See that beard, guys? That right there. That's our OnlyFans, is mostly pictures of that, as well as James's glasses, just beautifully, seductively, lusciously sitting on a table, staring you right in the eyes. And it's so much sexier than I'm making it out to be. All right. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to break up with your boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, pet, schoolyard bully, annoying neighbor, or just tell us how much you enjoy us, hate us, or wish the internet would consume us completely and spit us out at the feet of a starved Mojo.
For ratings.
It was written for this. I swear to God. As soon as it said, wish the internet would consume us, I was like, Mojo, send us an email at dist. Where's my button? Oh, right there. Okay. Dist.
You're ridiculous.
I try to be. Insnerding at AOL.com, and we will read it on air. So, guys, that is it from us today for X-amining 97. We will see everybody tomorrow for episodes 5 and episode 6 on the build. Until then, we love y'all. Remember, everybody, keep nerding together. And yes, it's not derivative.
I'm not allowed to do that.
Are you not a part of X-Force?
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. Your beard is a part of the X-Force.
The beard is, yes. I'm not.
Okay.
Oh, I was doing it for the Wonder Woman,
there you go.
bracelets. Then it's an X.
Isn't that derivative? We will see everybody tomorrow. Actually, I just realized.
What did you realize?
I just realized this is the wrong theme.
There you go.
We'll catch everybody tomorrow.
Bye.